Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to read some more through the screen, your boyfriend fanfic. We're doing chapter 6 and 7 today, and I'm going to read the summary again. After another long night of closing shifts and empty routines, Wyatt only finds comfort in one place. A visual novel called Your Boyfriend. The game's lead, Peter, is everything real life isn't. Gentle, patient, and innocently devoted. He's only constant in her world. She knows every one of his lines by heart. What begins as a harmless glitch turns into something alive. Now trapped in a world that mirrors her own, Wyatt must face the version of love she thought she won and decide what's real, what's code, and what she's willing to lose for the screen. And I will put it, I'll also put the, not only for the fanfic, I will put the link for the first video in the description and in the pinned comments. Chapter 6, The Words We Finally Say. The door chimes softly behind them as they step back into the sunlight. Wyatt breathed in the warm morning air, but the shopkeeper's words still lingered in her mind. Feels like this moment was supposed to happen. She traced her thumb over the tiny star. The mail warmed from her hand. Peter noticed immediately. "Hey," he mumbled, very softly. "You okay?" Wyatt exhaled slowly and handed the necklace back. He slipped it into his pocket, almost protective of the gesture. "Yeah," she said quietly. "Just thinking." Peter smiled, soft and warm. "Don't let me distract you. There's something I want you to see." He gestured down the sidewalk. They walked a few blocks in easy silence, warmth of the morning settling around them like a soft blanket. Wyatt recognized the path without needing to be told. The curve of the sidewalk, the wooden railing, the old brick wall lined with ivy. And then, as they reached the crest of the small hill, her breath caught. The park. The very first thing she ever saw when she opened the game. The quiet path down the canopy of trees. The little pond reflecting soft ripples of light. The bench, the exact bench where the intro dialogue always played. Seeing in motion, hearing the breeze rustle the branches, feeling the sunlight press warm against her arms. It was overwhelming in a way she didn't expect. "I always liked this place," Wyatt said quietly. "Yeah?" Peter asked, nudging her shoulder lightly as they walked towards the bench. "Me too, even if the game didn't do it justice." They sat side by side, the wooden slants cool beneath them. Neither of them said a word. They let the silence linger for a moment longer, letting the breeze settle, letting the memory of the beginning wash over them in gentle waves. Wyatt leaned back slightly, glancing at him. "Do you remember the intro dialogue from here?" His lips twitched. "How could I forget?" She smirked at him. "Then say it." Peter rolled his eyes, but the smile tugging at his mouth gave him away. He shifted dramatically, clearing his throat like he was about to deliver a Shakespearean monologue. "In the game I walked up from that path," he began, pointing stiffly towards the tree-lined trail. "And I said something like, 'Hey, I didn't think I'd run into anyone here.'" Wyatt gasped, shoving her shoulders in mock outrage. "Hey, that's not the line." Peter snickered. "Then you say it, genius." She rolled her eyes, sitting up straighter and giving her own lyrical throat cleaning. Then, in her best impression of the game's opening scene, "Whoa, hey, take it easy, it's just me." Peter immediately grimaced. "Don't do that." But she ignored him, continuing with gusto. "You're a jumpy one, aren't you? So..." She wiggled her eyebrows at him. "Are you waiting for a family member or a friend?" It's just kind of odd for you to be sitting here all alone, sitting here all alone like this, and so far away from the jogging track. Pierre covered his face with his hands. Stop! No, seriously, stop! But he was still laughing. She only got more dramatic. I mean, you don't look like a groundskeeper, or one of the old people flaying pigeons after doing Tai Chi. No, he managed between chuckles. Wow, you really gonna turn me down before you even have options, huh? She shot back, not a line from the game, but made Peter roll his eyes so hard it was a miracle they didn't get stuck. She pressed on, unbarred. Look, I know it's sudden, very sudden, but if you're free tonight, can I have the pleasure of taking you out to dinner? No, he said again, too fast, too deadpan, absolutely cracking up. She put a hand on her chest dramatically. Well, I'm your boyfriend. Isn't that why you're here? Pierce stopped laughing. He blinked once, twice, and then instead of getting frustrated, he leaned in, just a little. Yeah, he said quietly, his voice dripping lower than she expected. I'm your boyfriend. She froze, breath caught, cheeks warming instantly. Pierre's mouth lifted into a tiny, smug, heart-melting smile. What? He teased. You started it. One scoffed lightly, heat still booming across her cheeks. Whatever, she muttered, not angry, not dismissive, just flustered in the cutest way possible. She stood up slowly, brushing her hands, and started walking down the trail. At an unhurried pace, Pierre watched her for her heartbeat. The smile on his face, soft and knowing. He knew she wanted him to follow, and he did instantly. Hey, wait for me, he said, half laughing as he caught up to her, bumping her shoulder gently. Once he was beside her again. Wine didn't comment. She didn't have to. The tiny smirk she tried to hide said everything. They followed the trail until the trees opened up to a breathtaking clearing, one Wyan didn't remember from the game, sunlight spilling through the leaves overhead, and the branches curved in just the right way, forming a small, soft, natural heart-shaped frame of sky. The current glowed in warm shades of orange, pink, and gold, the sun dripping low enough to paint everything in small pastels. Wyan stopped, staring up. Oh, she breathed. This is beautiful. Peter looked up too, then back at her, and a smile deepened. Yeah, he mumbled. It really is. For a moment, she sank down in the grass, laying back. Peter hesitated, only a second before rolling himself to beside her, their shoulders almost brushing. The warmth of the fading light bathed them both, softening every edge of the world around them. For a moment, neither spoke. It was too perfect to ruin the noise. Pierre turned his head towards her, and the world slipped quiet. The sunset brushed over her skin in a soft golden pink, catching her lashes, warming the curve of her smile. She doesn't poise talking. Near to be anything. Near trying to be anything. She was just there. And somehow that made her impossibly breathtakingly beautiful. God, he thought, look at her. The way her hair framed her face, the shape of her mouth, when she pressed into the shy little line, the gentle way she always seemed half curious, half worried about the world around her. He watched her for so long from a distance, though moments she never knew he saw. For moments he never thought she never knew he saw. But it was different. Up close, she was stunning in a way that felt almost unreal. How did I get lucky enough to have her here? How is this not a dream? She tilted her head, brows lifting up slightly. Peter? He blinked, pulled away back in a moment, barely. Oh, right. I want to, His throat felt tight. He reached into his pocket. I wanted to see how the necklace looked on you. Her breath caught softly. You want to put it on me? Yes, he said. Stern, unfiltered, I do. She sat up straight, gathering her hair over her shoulder, and he moved behind her, lifting the delicate chain. His fingers brushed her neck, only for a second, but it sent a quiet shiver for him. Every part of him felt too aware. The shape of her neck, the warmth radiating from her skin, the trust her offered him so easily. She's letting me touch her. She trusts me. Don't ruin this. Hold still, he whispered. The clasp clinked into place, but he didn't move his hand right away. Couldn't. The back of her neck was warm. Her scent was soft and close. Familiar already. His chest tightened. So suddenly, he had to swallow hard just to breathe. He slid one hand gently, carefully, along her shoulder, brushing her hair back. She turned her head slightly, eyes meeting his from the corner of her gaze, and everything inside him unraveled. His thoughts were loud, clear, impossible to ignore. He couldn't keep it inside anymore. Whine, he breathed, his voice already unsteady. It trembled with the weight of everything he held in for too long. I need to tell you something. She shifted to face him, knees brushing his, her expression open and soft. Pierre's fingers curled slightly against her shoulder, like he needed the anchor. I don't just like you, he said quietly. I don't think I ever have. He breath caught. He swallowed, forcing the words out, gentle but stern. I love you. No, not rushed, not dramatic, just the truth. I love the way you look at things, he mumbled. The way you think, the way you laugh. I never been around you. I love being around you. I love you. His voice cracked faintly at the end, not from fear, not from sheer intensity of meaning it. You don't have to say it back, he added quickly. Eyes flickered away for a moment. I just need you to know. For a moment, Wyan held his hand, letting the warmth and weight of his confession settle into his chest. Her heart was beating hard enough that she wondered if he could feel it through her fingertips. But then she lifted her gaze, meeting his eyes with tremble of courage. Peter, she whispered, I want to say something too. His breath caught the smallest hopeful inhale. She smoothed her thumb over the back of his hand, grounding herself in the shape of him. I used to sit in front of the screen for hours, watching you, she made softly. Not the game version of you. You. The way you talked, the way you smiled at the camera, the way you tried to hide when you were flustered. Peter flushed, but he didn't look away. He couldn't. In the last few months, she continued, voice barely above a breath. Sometimes my whole day in with you. I come home exhaled and just, you were the person I wanted to see. Pierre's expression softened into something so tender it almost hurt. Wyan. And last night, she swallowed, cheeks warming, as her fingertips curled slightly against his. When you kissed me, it wasn't just a moment. It felt like everything clicked, like I had finally caught up to what I'd been feeling for so long. Pierre's lips parted, eyes swimming with something raw and unbelieving. I love you too, she whispered, not shaking, not unsure. Just truth. Peter let out a breath, like his entire world had been handing back to him. His forehead pressed to hers, their noses almost brushing. His voice, a quiet, trembling exhale. YN. His free hand slid to her cheek, thumb brushing the warm skin beneath her eye. I wanted to hear you say that for so long. Pierre didn't let go of her hand, even as their foreheads slowly parted, even as the air around them shifted from trembling tension into something warm and steady. He kept her fingers laced with his, like he was afraid of the moment might evaporate if he loses his grip. Wyan eased back into the grass first, lowering herself gently until she was lying on her back beneath the soft, heart-shaped opening in the canopy. The sun had slipped lower, churning the sky into a glowing wash of orange and tender rose pink. The light hit her face in a way that made her look impossibly serene. Pierre followed a beat later, lowering himself beside her, close but not overwhelming. Their shoulders brushing lightly, their hands remained linked between them, resting on the warm grass. Neither spoke at first. The breeze drifted over them, cold and sweet. Leaves rustled overhead. Somewhere in the distance, a bird chirped a low, even call. Pierre's thumb gazed the back of her hand in a slow, absent circles, like he's been waiting to do this for years. Wyan didn't pull away. She leaned into the touch, letting her fingers curl around him more scary. I like this, he whispered finally, turning her head towards him. Just being here with you. Pierre's eyes softened, the corners of his mouth lifted in a small, Joan smile. Me too. She shifted an inch closer, resting the side of her head lightly against his shoulder. Peter inhaled sharply and angled himself a little towards her so she'd fit more comfortably. The world around them seemed to hum faintly, like it approved. They stayed like this, wrapped in fading sunlight and shaped warmth, letting the moment stretch without needing to feel it. Together, safe, loved. The sky above them slowly deepened into richer orange. The last edges of daylight stretched a little across the clearing, like a warm blanket. Fireflies hadn't come out yet, but the air held the quiet promise, the soft hush of a world about to slide into evening. Lion traced the small circles on the back of Pierre's hand, not thinking about it, just doing it. And every time her thumb brushed his skin, his breath hitched the faintest bit, like he still couldn't believe she was touching him at all. After a few minutes of comfortable silence, Lion spoke softly. Can I ask you something? Peter turned his head slightly towards her, eyes warm, patient, anything. She paused, choosing her words carefully. What is this world really like when no one's looking? Pierce stared up at the patch of sky overhead, their hands still woven together. His voice, when he answered, was gentle, open in a way that felt like he was letting her walk into the room he kept locked for years. It's quiet, he said. Different. Time doesn't move unless something meaningful happens. Days stretch, moments repeat. Some places feel asleep until someone wakes them up. Lion listened closely, her thumb slowly over his hand. But it's not empty, he continued. Just waiting, like a book left open on a table, waiting for someone to touch the page again. She felt something warm twist in her chest. And the people, she asked softly? Pierre hesitated. Not because he didn't want to tell her, but because he was trying to be honest as possible. We feel things, he mumbled. We remember things. We talk when no one sees us. We have routines, we get bored, we laugh. He gave her a tiny smile. Well, TK laughs more than the rest of us. Lion chuckles under her breath. Pierre smiled, a smile widened. And when I look at you from the side of things, his voice softened, almost shy. It didn't feel like a player looking at a screen. It felt like someone I cared about coming back. The confession wasn't new. He had already told her he loved her, but hearing it this way hit differently, deeper. Lion shifted closer, tugging herself gently into his side. So when I was gone, the world just waited? Yeah, Peter whispered, but I didn't. That made her heart stutter. She looked up at him, her voice barely a breath. You wait for me? Peter nodded, brushing her hair back from her cheek with 2 fingers. The touch softened as a sigh. Every time. I'm glad I'm here, she whispered, leaning into his touch, Pierre's thumb brushing her cheek, slow and relevant. I am too. The clearing had shifted into a deeper shade of gold and rose, the sky curling into early twilight. Fireflies blinked softly at the edge of the glass, tiny sparks flickering in and out like shy stars learning how to glow. One rested against Pierre's side, her head on his shoulder, their fingers still woven together in the glass. Pierre shifted just slightly, adjusting to fit more comfortably against him, careful, tender, intuitive. After a long, peaceful stretch of quiet, she spoke softly. So when the game was off, things still kept going? Pierre let out a slow breath. His thumb brushed the side of her hand in a lazy, covering rhythm. Yes, he mumbled. It never froze. Lion lifted her head a little, eyes searching his. Pierre's voice stayed low, honest in a way that felt almost vulnerable. The world doesn't stop when you're gone. We don't lose time. Days keep happening. People keep living. We wake up, go places, and we talk. We work. Everything keeps going. Lion blinked slowly, stunned. So you all keep living without me? Pierre nodded gently. Yeah, in a way. He reached up and tucked a strand of her hair behind her ear, fingers guiding down the strand in a slow, affectionate sweep. But it wasn't the same, he added quietly. Not for me. His breath hitched. Her breath hitched. Pierre's eyes softened, warm and deep with meaning. When you weren't here, I'll still find myself looking for you. Around corners and quiet places in the park, he gestured faintly towards their clearing. Sometimes I'll sit on the bench in the morning just wondering if today would be the day you logged back in. Lion's heart twisted, tender and aching, and when you finally did, he exhaled a shaky little laugh. It always felt like something clicked back into place. She leaned into him, pressing her forehead lightly against his cheek. And now, she whispered. Pierre's eyes closed his eyes, brushing his fingers along her jaw, soft as a sigh. Now you're here, he mumbled, and everything feels real again. The words settled over her like warm sunlight. She smiled and slid her hand up to the rest over his heart. His breath stilled just for a beat before he relaxed into the touch. The last threads of sunlight blew into his channel, purples and dusky pinks. A warm breeze drifted through the clearing, stirring the leaves above them so they could stay in slow, lazy arches, framing the heart-shaped opening in the canopy like a secret the forest kept just for them. Lion shifted closer, resting fully against Pierre's side now. His arms slipped around her without hesitation, pulling her into the smallest bit, just enough to make her feel completely held and completely safe. She could hear his heartbeat, a slow, comforting rhythm that grounded her more deeply than anything else today. Pierre bent his head slightly, pressing a soft, barely there kiss to her hairline. Not passionate, not rushed, just tender. Juan's breath caught, but she didn't pull away. She let her fingers curl gently into the fabric of the shirt, feeling the warmth of his breath. Him beneath her touch. "Are you comfortable?" he whispered into her hair. "Yes," she mumbled. "More than I thought I could be." Pierre smiled at her, and she felt the shape of it against the side of her forehead. "Good." She exhaled soft and warm against him. "Thank you for everything. This place, it's beautiful. I'm glad I get to see it like this with you." Pierre closed his eyes, pressed his cheek into her hair again. "Me too," whispered. "I've never won anything more." Clearing hummed quietly under them, not literally, but in a way that the world sometimes does when everything is exactly perfectly right. The grass curled them soft beneath their backs. Fireflies drifted at the edges of their vision, blinking into existence as twilight deepened. For a long, suspended moment, nothing moved. Nothing interrupted. Nothing existed except for the two of them, laying together beneath a heart-shaped opening in the trees, wrapped in faded colors and quiet love. But a quiet thought tugged in her chest, soft, worrying, something she needed to understand before the peace slipped away. "Pierre," she whispered. His hands, which had been drifting lazily up and down her arm, paused. "I know I'm asking a lot, but..." She swallowed gently. "Live in their player joins. How does that work?" Pierre went very still, not afraid, just thoughtful. Sad almost. He shifted a little so he could see her face, brushing a thumb tenderly along her jaw before answering. "Well," he exhaled slowly, "if someone does log in, I have to go to them." Juan's brows knitted. You'd leave?" "Only for a moment," he mumbled. "I don't want to, but the world, it kind of pulls me. Pops me into place, like it expected me to play my part." She felt her chest tighten, not with jealousy, but with worry. "Would you forget me?" she whispered. Pierre's expression softened immediately, breaking into something warm, painfully sincere. "Never," he said. "Not even for a second." He shifted fully into his view now, lifting her chin with a gel fingers as she looked at him. "But it won't happen," he added softly. "The game's old. No one plays anymore. He brushed his knuckles along her cheek. "You were the only one who stayed, the only one who kept coming back." Lion felt her breath catch from how tenderly he said it, like she was irreplaceable, like she was chosen. "Besides," Peter mumbled, laying his forehead against hers, "even if someone did join..." His voice dripped lower, more stern. "I'll still come back to you." His cheeks warmed. Her cheeks warmed, eyes softening as she whispered, "Promise?" He had cupped her cheek, thumb stroking the edge of her jaw. "I promise." Peter's promise still lingered warm in the air between them, but Wyan could feel the heaviest setting a little too eagerly, and she wasn't ready for the moment to end or something so serious. Not when his arms were around her, not when the clearing was growing like it just lit just for them. So she nudged him gently with her shoulder. "Hey," she mumbled, "you're getting way too sentimental all at once. I might have to tease you about it later." Peter let out a soft laugh, the kind that warmed her entire face. "Tease me?" He wouldn't dare. "Oh, I would," she said, saying up slightly. She could look down at him. I have years of material, you know. All the times you got flustered, all the times you tripped over your words. Oh, and I don't think I forget about how dramatic you acted when I asked if you wanted dinner. Per groaned, covering his face with his hand. Why, please. And the way you said no to everything earlier, like you're auditioning for a rejection montage. Pierre was laughing into her shoulder when she nudged him again. Her teasing relentless, and he swatted at her hand half-heartedly. Stop! You're going to kill me, he groaned, still laughing. She grinned triumphant. I'm just saying you make it very easy. He looked up at her, eyes hazy from laughing a little too much, with his cheeks flushed. One of his eyes was squinting from the smile plastered on his face with the happiness she'd never seen bloom so unguarded on his face before. You know what's easy? He said softly. He leaned in and stole a kiss, quick, soft, warm, so sudden she gasped against his lips he couldn't help it. When he pulled back, he had the nerve to look smug about it. Her mouth fell open. Peter? What? He said aimlessly, lying back on his hands behind her head. Behind his head. You were asking for it. I was not, she sputtered, shoving his shoulder. He laughed harder, then grabbed her wrist and pulled her down with him. They tumbled into the grass together, rolling in the tangled limbs, laughter bursting out of them as they half wrestled, half embraced. She tried to pin him. He tried to flip her. Neither of them tried very hard. At one point, he ended up on top, bracing himself with his hands on either side of her head. Still teasing me, he said breathlessly. Always, she shot back, kicking lightly at his side until he toppled over, then rolled again. They laughed landed side by side, chest heaving, clothes dusted with grass, faces flushed and beaming with joy. Pierre reached over and flickered her forehead gently. You're annoying, he said between breaths. And you love it, she whispered. His smile softened from his smugness. Yeah, he said quietly, I do. Then they lie there, shoulder to shoulder, staring up at the darkening sky, still laughing under their breaths, hearts full and stupid light. The world held its breath with them. The curtain was quiet now, the last streaks of twilight stretching thin across the sky, like water car, bleeding into the deepest blue. Their laughter faded into soft echoes, slipping between the trees. Pierre's fingers brushed hers, gentle, thoughtless, warm, and then they stopped moving. Just stopped. Not a breeze, not a rustle, not a single leaf trembling. Lion blinked up at the sky. A strange pulse of pleasure waving through their chest, like the world had inhaled but forgotten to exhale. Peter, she whispered. He stiffened beside her. A low, static hum rippled across the clearing, a faint like a distant radio turning itself. The sky twitched once, twice, like a broken frame, trying to correct itself. Pierre shot upright, so fast the grass bent under the sudden movement. His eyes went wide, terrified. No, he breathed. No, not now. Lion scrambled up beside him, heart plunging. The sky glitched again, a thin line of pixels tearing horizontally. Horizontally across the clouds, bright and silent and wrong, colors inverted for half a second. The sunlit warmth disappeared into a flash of cold blue static. Then across the torn open sky, words began to form, huge inescapable, flickering like dying neon. A new player has joined. The worst pulse once ping, a metallic sound ring across the trees like a nullification ping against her skull, sharp enough to make Lion flinch. Pierre's breathing hitched in panic. His hands found hers on instinct, gripping tight. Urgent. It's happening, he whispered. His voice was thin, hollow, fractured. The words glowed brighter. A new player has joined. Lion's pulse hammered in hers. She looked at him, terrified, searching. And Peter? He didn't have a smile. He didn't have a tease. He didn't have warmth. He looked like someone watching their world split open. Peter, she whispered again, barely breathing. He swallowed hard, eyes still locked on the glitching sky. They're pulling me, he said. The glitched sky stuttered again, the words pulsing like a countdown. A new player has joined. Pierre's grip on YN's hand tightened painfully. Then he tore his gaze away from the sky and looked at her. Really looked. His chest was rising too fast. His eyes were wide, with something between fear and urgency. YN, he breathed. Listen to me. His throat tightened. Peter? Her throat tightened. Peter? No. He grabbed her shoulders, pulling her closer, forcing her to meet his eyes. YN, run. You have to leave this area right now. What? No, I don't want to leave you. He shook his head sharply, voice cracking. You don't understand. When they pull me to the new player's route, I don't know where I'm going to appear or what state I'll be in. So what they choose, he breath stuttered. I don't know what the world will do. I don't want you anywhere near it. There around them vibrated again. A low, unnerving hum. Peter, she whispered, fear clawing her ribs. He fumbled his pockets with shaking hands, pulling out a small white card labeled emergency. His name scrawled in the corner, a number beneath it, an address on the back. He shoved it into her hands. Take this, go east until you hit the road. There's a small motel. Stay there. Don't go anywhere alone. Don't talk to anyone you don't recognize. Don't let anyone see you. His eyes burned. Peter, I'm not... YN, his voice broke. I need you safe. The sky glitched again, harder. Pierre winced, as if something visible had tugged his spine forward. She reached towards him. Peter! He grabbed her hand, holding it to his chest. I love you, he said. The words rushed, terrified, but real. So please run. She shook her head, tears slipping free. I'm not leaving you. You have to. His fingers wrapped around her wrist, like he was memorizing the shape of her. Whatever happens, when I'm pulled, I don't want you anywhere near it. I don't want you hurt because of me. The sky pulsed again, a violent jolt of light that made the trees flicker like they were going out of existence. Pierre grasped and doubled forward as if something had hooked into his ribs. Peter, she cried. He struggled to strain, his breath shaking. YN, please run. Hide. I'll find you. I swear I'll come back for you. Just go. His voice flattered in the static as the pull hit harder. He squeezed her hand once, desperate, final, loving run. I think I'll end it here for today because that was a perfect cliffhanger. And yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the description for the fanfic. Please give the fanfic author some love because the story's amazing. And I'll see you guys. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Liking the video, commenting down below, and I'll see you guys next time.